Hello everyone and welcome to Bytes and Builders, the web show where we talk to developers and creators all around the region and all around Ontario, for now at least. And we get the inside scoop on what they've been working on, what their opinions are on certain things. Today we are very, very fortunate to be talking with Adam Dellow, who's a local artist and a curator in the Niagara region. Hope you guys enjoy the video, stick around. Yeah, sure.
Alright, so might as well just tell you folks what I'm doing. So I'm a 3D printer artist. I've been doing game development and all sorts of stuff for a very long time. And I'm just getting into 3D printing. I got this resin printer. It's amazing. It can go up to like 20 microns. What's a micron, right? So it's like...
It's not like a millionth of...
Well, it's a 1/1000th of a millimeter. So for 1 millimeter, there's 1,000 microns, right? There's 20 microns I can get up to, which is pretty significant. I can get the pores of the skin on a model, right? So
Jesus.
Yeah, so we were just talking about logistics, and I don't know, you had mentioned something?
Yeah, so I originally was talking about like maker markets, because I have a friend that runs these maker markets, which is literally exactly what you think it is. People that craft and do handcraft, they rent a table at a location and they sell their wares. And I was talking with Adam about that, but he made a good point that like there is so much to consider when it comes to logistics, parking, getting someone to help you. I mean, how long you're going to be there for, what you can set up, what you can make it really with maker markets, as opposed to doing something like you're doing with Etsy.
Well, I plan to do with Etsy,
right.
And it's just it's funny. I'm sure like there's probably going to be people in the comments like, "Oh, well, let's see your stuff now." And then, you know, what are his credentials? It's like, oh, okay, so I work in the marketing industry, and you know, kind of poised to do this kind of stuff.
Right.
It's like Einstein working at the patent office. It's interesting, and I'm just getting into it now. But I've been in the industry for quite some time to understand like how things work and where the pitfalls are, and I've also even set up with BLX and like all the, you probably don't remember that.
I don't.
Okay, so that was an art group that I was in. It was there for about like 5 or 6 years, 2013 to about 2017, 18, and we had a store. We did all sorts of groups. We did like festivals. We hosted our own shows. You know, did art crawls, all this stuff. I've seen a lot of crap. And what I see is a pitfall where people don't really consider logistics. Sure, great, maker markets, probably a great way to meet people, but if you're looking to sell stuff, that's where the pitfall is. And then people get discouraged because they're not selling, so they're like, oh, I give up, I don't want to do this. You're investing your time in the wrong areas, I personally think. The best way to go about 3D printing, print something off. Sure, you can print off 12,000 of them. Sure, it's going to take you like a year. If you print off one and you make a mold out of it with silicone rubber, so Mold Max 30 or something similar to that, Agitate or something, right? You can reproduce those pieces and make visible, like positives basically. And you just churn them out. You can get more bang for your buck doing that, and you keep your costs super low and you sell for super high because now it's a premium product. You've spent the time to sculpt, physically hand sculpt this thing in ZBrush. Now you're printing it out. You can make, I've seen people make like crazy amount of money in like 1 year on Etsy, and they're just selling things like lamps, statues. Like the one guy that I'm really following a lot is I forget his name, but he's on Etsy. He does he steered away from the copyright stuff, and he only made sculptures of people from history. Right? That's smart, right? Okay. So Einstein, so Charles Darwin, so Pythagoras, and like all these people, right? Like honestly, Leonardo da Vinci, honestly, like, is genius, and he sells them $80 a pop. I looked at like just the amount of sales he's done, and he's cleared well over $300,000, maybe $500,000 on Etsy, and that's from what I've seen. I just did a quick kind of glance over at all these guys, I had a big, huge laundry list, and I went through every single one.
Right.
It took like 5 hours just sitting there, just checking everything out. And honestly, making molds of stuff and then just churning them out, like doing a limited run, right? You don't want to just sell like thousands, because now that's reducing the its value. If everyone is
value is also the supply and demand. Hey, this guy made an awesome mold. It's not making it anymore. It's worth more money for someone who's bought it to sell it.
Yeah, and it's just like art too, right? If you sell, say, if you got a bunch of canvases, you make the same you make the same painting 100 times. And
right.
Just pop, or prints. You're just printing them out, and this is what glisses are, right? Like, I'm sure I mispronounced that. You on the back, you put limited run like out of, and you put it out
right.
of 100, out of 80, or out of 20, out of 10, out of 3. And then the limited part of it, you can now charge more, even though it's a print. You've put it through a printer, high quality printer, of course, with high quality paper, but it's still run through a printer, right? It's just like that. If I were to print that flag, and say like I'm an artist and like I print that flag, and for the people who can't see, there's a giant cool flag on the side of the camera.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate flag that I got a while ago.
It's awesome.
It is.
And if I were to print 1 million of them, its worth would probably be $5, because everyone has one, and it's not a piece of art. It's just a print at that point.
Exactly.
If you only make like a handful of them, and you're saying $1,000. It's $1,000. There's only 3 of them in the freaking world.
Exactly, and that's exactly it. That's where the whole supply and demand thing comes.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
less supply, there's more demand, which means you can raise the price. It's very simple economics that we've all been taught in like high school.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. It's just so many people. I've seen many artists. Like, I run this art group called Artists of Niagara,
which I'm actually in.
Yeah, it's pretty decent art group. We've been around for about 8 years now. We currently have about 800 members. Sure, that sounds low. We're also dealing with a maximum of about 480,000 people in the area. There's probably not a lot of people who are interested in the arts in this way on Facebook, and also all these people, there's some people who aren't, but a lot of them are teachers, professors, professional artists, people who are in the industry. They're working artists. They're very good. Some of them are just starting out, which is fine. But I'm just really interested in how saturated the group is with amazing artists. The point is, I see a lot of people come and go, and I see what their pitfalls are, and the biggest one is, wait for it, just selling the crap, and not like they go to these festivals, these maker markets, these general, these places to sell their art, and they're putting all this time into it, 8, 10, maybe 12 hours a day, going here and trying to sell their stuff, and they're getting talked down. They might sell 1 or 2, and more often than not, they don't sell anything. And when they do, it's like, it's for peanuts. And they spent, this is another thing too, they're selling originals. So they're selling the actual canvas that they physically painted. We live in a world now where we can go to a print shop, get a glissé for, like 15, 20 bucks? Nice 64-inch glissé, boom. Like, you've now, and then you could sell that for however, like, I sold one for 80 bucks. It was just a print. It was glissé. But it was on high quality, paper, and it was nice and framed, limited run. I mean, it was a beautiful painting. It was like this wilderness abstract deer thing. It was great. And you know what? That's how it's done. You don't sell the original. Unfortunately, people don't do that. Unfortunately, and they just get into this little circle.
And that's a part. I was at a maker's market yesterday.
How was it?
It wasn't bad. I mean, it was taking place at the Fine Grind Cafe, which is already a pretty confined space.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's great. I mean, the woman who ran
it's an elbow party for sure.
It is, and that's without any booths or trinkets being sold.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that, I love the location. Awesome location.
Yeah.
One of my close friends runs it. Great
really?
yeah,
Interesting.
amazing.
Oh, cool.
So it's awesome to see that, but like at the same time, they're selling all these high quality paintings, and it looked almost like, you could do a lot better marketing it for yourself than you could at a market where people may or may not walk in.
Yeah.
For example,
yeah.
like artists at conventions make a killing because Artist Alley is one of the most popular parts of a convention. You go in with 100 drawings, you're leaving with 0.
Yeah, artist alleys do great, and people they definitely look at these artist alleys and they're just like, hey, I can go to the art crawl and I'm gonna be selling all this stuff because people they sell art in artist alley and it works for them, and I'm gonna do the same. They don't realize that the people who go to Comic Cons or Fan Expo, they go with cash. The people who go to art crawls, they literally just walk around the corner like, what's going on over here? Or they go there because it's just something to do. They don't generally have. You gotta think like who has money on them when they're walking through these things.
You're at a market. You're not. I almost never carry cash on me, but if I go to like a convention, I know I'm blowing $300, and I know that
Absolutely.
It's like gambling. You know that you go to the casino with $100. You're not walking out with 500. You're blowing $100, and if something good happens, something good happens.
Yeah.
But like if I go to a convention versus the market, convention, I know that I'm carrying cash on me.
Yeah.
I know that I'm bringing a backpack, that I'm walking out with a print, with an action figure, with a pop vinyl, whatever it ends up being. I'm walking out with it because I know, hey, I'm going here to take a look at these amazing artists, and I'm going to support them, and I'm going to see what they have to offer that I can bring home with me that I can brag about later.
The biggest thing that I noticed with a lot of these festivals and these art shows and things like this, there's no real attention brought to it, or no importance brought to when advertising it, if it's being advertised. That's a big one too. Like, do these things even get advertised? A lot of the ones I've ever been to or have seen, they get advertised in these like local circles. When it does get advertised, I don't ever see, yes, we have an ATM there. Like the thing being dug into people's heads that like, bring money, right? No, it's just like, come for the coffee, come for, you know what I mean? Like, come on over, we got some great booths, we got some art.
See,
bring money!
If honestly, if I was marketing these things, what I would love to do is like, let's say you have 10 vendors, 10 days in advance, showcase them. Here's this art, not just here's their face, but here's an awesome thing they did. They take commissions. I mean, you gotta really look at it in the sense of make people want to. Conventions.
You gotta make them like rock stars, is what you gotta do.
Conventions, they advertise everything.
Yeah.
Here's all of our artists, here's some of the stuff they've worked on.
I go only for the artists.
100%.
I don't go for the stupid freak. I don't want to meet William fucking Shatner. Sorry, William, but if you're watching this, man, you're cool, but you're not like, I don't know. There's a couple artists out there, man, that
I can wait in line
if Todd McFarlane were to be like, hey, I'm dropping in at like a Fan Expo in Toronto, I don't care how much it costs, I'm there. Like, I want him to like sign some Spawn. Like,
100%, but you have all these it's the same thing though. I'd much rather not wait in line for an hour and a half to meet one celebrity when I can do like 5 rounds of the artist alley.
That's another thing too. It's like they're celebrities in their own right. These are like working professionals who hide in the shadows. They're the the men behind the curtain, right? But they're pulling all the levers. They're the ones they are the superstars. They're what make these comics look great, and a lot of them are working on their stuff. I met this Louis Cirillo. I forget his last name.
Sounds familiar.
He's pretty cool, man. He works in like the film industry. He also, like, when I first saw him, he was like in the artist alley, like sculpting away, hands all muddy and wet and whatnot. He like shook my hand. It was all muddy. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, let's do this, man. But it was cool because he ended up being a solid guy. I still have him on my Facebook. Louis, if you're watching this, man, word. And it's awesome because like you watch these guys in action, you know what I mean, and doing their thing, and like someone else is like selling their prints or whatever, or some guy down in the other block is selling prints of their shit on their wall that they've doctored up, and it's fan art. How do you feel about the fan art?
okay, I don't mind fan art, but fan art versus originality, 1 in a million for fan art, 1 in like a dozen.
Yeah.
That's the difference, is that the fan art, anybody can draw, okay, not anybody can draw, but like, of the people who can draw, anybody can draw the 11th Doctor. Saving the world, or even just like doctoring like a cool background with 11th Doctor and K9 at his feet. Anybody can do that. I have very limited Photoshop skills. I can do that.
So I bought a piece of fan art, and it was Mega Man, and it was done in a very, very different art style that I've ever have seen, and it was because it was done all in vector art in Illustrator, and I got a chance to talk to the guy. He was like, we were talking shop,
right?
And it was like, I was just curious, like, how are you doing this? I've never, like, I've seen stuff like this being done with Illustrator, but not on this level. This is like next level Illustrator.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You got, unless if you went into Photoshop afterwards, and he's like, no, all Illustrator. I was like, what the fuck? It was full gradient out, like, it was gradients upon gradients upon gradients, and it was a lot, like, all these, like, layers, all, like, there was a lot going on. It wasn't just Mega Man. It was like an abstract thing of Mega Man. It was all like broken apart, and it looked like all these pieces. Instead of like this giant solid boot, it was like pieces that made up the boot. Right? So it was like patchwork of metal, like that you would probably like panels, right? But it was all done in like these weird shapes, like abstract looking, and it was absolutely amazing.
That goes more to my 1 in a dozen versus 1 in a million, though, because anybody can do basic fan art.
That was
like
nothing.
I know nothing was basic. I'm just saying though, like
for people, sure.
Like I wouldn't get a one that looks exactly like Mega Man, but you give me like a highly detailed Mega Man, I'm all over that because that's different, that's unique.
Yeah.
That's the effort. That isn't just here's me coloring for an hour to make this exact looking replica, but holy hell, I can see the gears in Mega Man's blaster.
You do, actually. It's pretty crazy.
That's what I mean, though. Like, I'd much rather own that.
Yeah.
For example, anyone can make an Assassin's Creed.
I can make that for you in 5 minutes.
Exactly. But they made it look weathered. They made it look...
Yeah. It's the fact that they've made it and sold it. A lot of people make these things and they don't actually sell them. They just sits on their desktop.
Exactly.
It doesn't go anywhere. Sure, like they might be like selling stuff where the original artist could be making that money, but the original artist has made that money, in my personal opinion. Like they've gotten their share, and honestly, it doesn't hurt to have people make fan art and to boost it up. That kind of like shows that your fan base is nice and healthy. You don't want to have a fan base where it's like you're lost to the wind. Like, who's doing Astro Boy? Astro Boy was huge back in the day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who's doing, like, there was all sorts of, like, amazing stuff back in, like, the 60s, 70s. You don't see anymore. Or even 80s or fucking 90s.
You really don't.
I mean, I think Gargoyles is coming back, so that's cool. But, like, for the longest time, I would be like, yeah, Gargoyles, and, like, anyone... You know what I mean? Like, over the, under the age of, say, 25, they have no idea what I'm talking about. Pre-Disney Plus. Disney Plus has brought it all back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We watched the crap out of it.
We're talking original, like, getting up at, like, 5 in the morning on Saturday to watch Gargoyles, like, pros.
Oh, that was me with the Dragon Ball. No one knew what Dragon Ball was. Like, I was like, I brought anime to the masses, like, in my little town.
Right.
It was great because, like, no one, like, I felt like I was talking to a bunch of fucking aliens. Oh, sorry, if I'm loud to swearing thing. But, like, I felt like I was talking to a bunch of aliens where it's just, I bring up all this great anime, and people are like, what's that? But do you watch Pokemon, though? How about Sailor Moon? Right, they were just getting into, like, Dragon Ball, and I'm, like, watching Macross, Palabar, like, I'm watching, like, crazy shit, like,
see, I got into...
Kira, fuck, Ghost in the Shell, like, Dragon Ball, but, like, Japanese for, like, GT versions, like, I mean, all that stuff was like already done by the time I got into Dragon Ball. Like GT was already finished.
Right.
And like
I got into Dragon Ball when I was watching it on YTV. I was like, they're fighting, they're flying, they're blasting energy blast. This is absolutely awesome. And a 20-minute episode is like 2 seconds in the actual show.
It's just like a whole bunch of eyeballs. Ugh, right?
Exactly. No, it's just, and that's the thing is that I had to try and explain the difference between like anime and cartoons.
Yeah.
And I was like, the best way that I can describe it is there's a lot more yelling in anime than there is in cartoons, and it's a lot more violent in anime than cartoons.
Back in the day, it was a lot different just for the animation quality. Like for a lot of stuff, actually. I mean, like, even Sailor Moon was like, it was a pretty solid fucking series. Like, when you look at it, I mean, it's solid in a way. Like, it looked weathered, it looked like, kind of like a timepiece because it was like watercolored, like
right.
backgrounds and stuff like that, but it was... That's why it was cool because it had an art element to it, but when I don't know there's certain cartoons that you can't compare to, like Gargoyles was one of them. When you watch that, you're watching a straight up movie. They can make at least 10 or 12 movies out of the entire series that they've run. They've had what, like 3 seasons. One of them wasn't even like the one season. It got released, but it got released as Goliath Chronicles or some shit.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it is. It
okay.
is. So it's just weird. Like, they come back to New York City, and like the whole thing is a little different. Like, they're out of the clock tower. They're back with Xanatos, and they're basically like the whole city's against them. They find out about the gargoyles and that they're there and everything like that. So there's a secret society that tries to fuck them up, and like, you know what I mean? Like, they're out for blood. Like, these guys don't want them there. And yeah, it's just it's action packed. Like everything in there. I mean, like every single episode kind of like reverts back to the beginning. It's like, oh, like everything just never changed. Like, it's back to the way it was, like a normal formulaic cartoon episode, but it still had persistence in a way. Like, there were certain episodes that pushed the envelope and had continuity, you know, like Xanatos having a child, or like certain gargoyles coming or dying or whatever. Like, it was interesting.
Oh yeah.
And yeah,
and I'm thinking, you know, that's just on the dying part. That's another really interesting part between that really separates, like, you know, cartoons and anime. In cartoons, you can get run over by a truck, shot in the face, and you have bandages.
yeah.
But in anime, there is always a very real chance of someone dying.
Oh, absolutely. I like
like
Gundam, where you just, you know, people die all the time.
Gundam, Full Metal Alchemist. Lot of death in that.
Yeah, man. So yeah, dude, like, fan culture is great. Coming back to this was the root of why we were talking about
right.
Like, fan culture is awesome, and all of these shows, they still have a great following. Why? Because they have guys like making fan art, that keeping the memory alive, you know, things like that, and it's just great to have someone like kind of keeping the lantern out. They might be making money off of it, but why shouldn't they be?
Right.
They're great artists. Hire them. Like,
Oh,
you're upset
that's-
of you know, like redrawing some of the stuff, and it looks pretty good, and some people are buying it, and okay, have you thought about hiring them? Like,
Yeah, you can either bitch about them, or you can do something about it. Like, when I go to an artist alley, I'm coming back with at least like 20 to 30 business cards.
yeah, same.
I may not call them, because I'm an idiot and keep spacing out on that kind of stuff. But like, I will still, you know, I'll chat with them, I'll see their art. I bought Fire and Steel, I think is the company that makes like the high quality replica weapons.
Oh yeah.
I bought a $150 Doctor Strange necklace. Which at some point I'm going to make a cosplay of and like wear it to a con. But like, the quality of it is like, oh yeah, that's $150 worth.
Dude, I will straight up do Iron Man if you do that. I will 3D print an Iron Man if you go.
Oh,
if
you
go
know
with
what?
Doctor Strange.
Why not? I will find a seamstress to help me out and make the Doctor Strange costume. I will even dye my hair black with like the touch of gray.
Do it.
I mean, like if you're gonna go, you're gonna go, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't like
just
black
wear
hair,
contacts. That's all you gotta do.
Oh right, contacts. You know, oh, fuck it, I'll go blind.
Contacts, man. Just like
I
poke your eye.
can't, I can't get them in.
You just gotta practice. Like eventually, like you'll. You know, I asked my optometrist. I was like, why can't I? Are my eyes just that sensitive? And she's like, you know why? Because you're not a girl. And I was like, what? Because you don't put mascara on, and you're like, because it's a reflex now that you just want to close your eyes. Like I guess women have to always like, you know what I mean? Like when they're doing their makeup, they're like putting shit in their eyeballs.
Right.
Right. For me, like anything comes near my eyeball, like get the fuck away.
Yeah, 100%.
Close my eyes all the time. Even if it's my own finger, like it just the contact doesn't go in there.
So clearly, what you're saying is I gotta put more makeup on all the time.
You do
in
you.
private. In private.
No, just I don't know, just sit there and like poke your eyeball or something. Obviously with a clean finger, but just get practice or something. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. 3D printing, and just been doing some great stuff. I got an Asmodan. Getting ready. I want to print off Asmodan.
Diablo, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved What
yeah,
a
man.
great demon.
Dude, like it's gonna be dope. So, so he's like a crab monster, right? And I'm gonna do it in pieces, but the part where his head is, I'm gonna actually like separate the head and I'm gonna print it off in two parts. So like, the head's actually gonna be the clear resin, and it's gonna have a cavity where I can put an LED in. And then he's gonna have a fireball, and that's gonna be clear resin. The rest of it's gonna be sculptor's gray, and then the clear resin's gonna, or the fireball's gonna have a cavity as well with an LED, all hooking up to this like a battery and some circuitries like resistors and stuff like that, and the base, and it's just gonna be this little lamp where the whole thing is gonna light up his head. It's just gonna look all fiery. It's gonna look dope.
That's wicked.
Metal paint for like all the gold and all that stuff.
Right.
So I'm gonna try and make a limited run of that. Just selling like $100.
Oh, 100% you can do that.
Sorry, Blizzard. You can give me a DMCA by the time you've seen this. I'll probably make it at
If
least.
it's ever seen.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I know you gotta get going, but thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah,
I appreciate
for sure,
it. This is
man.
the inaugural episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys with a new creator next time. Thank you guys so much for checking out our first episode of Bytes and Builders. We hope you had a really good time. As I said at the end of the video, like and subscribe for more. And we're going to have new creators. If it's a game developer that we end up developing, or interviewing rather, we're going to be playing their game. We're going to have several cuts of me playing the game throughout the week of me getting better and better, I hope. Anyways, thank you guys so much for checking out this channel, and I hope you guys enjoy.